It's 7 p.m. The time check on Radio Party.
Good evening, listener. You are tuned to Radio Parties 90.9 FM. Peace of Christ for all. This is a talk show here. It's running from now until the hour of 9 p.m. In the studio, we are 16 minutes past 7 p.m. I have a team here from Lugbarakari and SRHR. They are coming to talk about the role of cultural leaders in advancing reproductive health amongst the girl child. We will be doing this both in English and then the local language. On top of the hour at 8, we'll have news bulletin and we will return with the discussion until 9 p.m. Otherwise, to be part of this program, you can reach us on our, first of all, our studio line, which is 0776-255-086. Our Airtel line is 0755-348-283. And the SMS line is 0393-273252. We will have this. We'll have the first session of calls before we have the news on top of the hour at 8, and then we'll also have more calls before we leave the studio finally at 9. Otherwise, your participation is highly encouraged since these are key issues of concern in the community. So before we get to the issues we'll be breaking down, let me give my guests an opportunity for them to introduce themselves to you. Like I said, I had two teams here. Let me start from the team from SRHR. Yes, please. You are most welcome in the studio.
Thank you, moderator. I'm so happy to be part of the team that is talking about sexual reproductive health and rights today. I'm called Sarah Akampulira, and I work with SRHR, which is the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, where I serve as a program coordinator for Community Empowerment Program.
Okay.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm also equally excited to be a part of the team, and I'm called Judith Nakalembe. I also work with the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, SRHR. I'm a lawyer by profession, but I serve more in the community empowerment program.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what for? Modipi banga ba SRHR ya dibe daite muke ruleko emuki ba wara Lugbarakari vudi pie dileka Lugbarakari vudi pie emuzu yondezo abatara gbazo yotamani chebo adi hari madria mangadi ba Lugbarakari dini dileba feini iteze mini rakaka amadifi agbatara mahali ando dini Prime Minister Maimira
awadi foto ba amatu japide dika ba mari pembelele Amaru tuku Ismaili ma epife Lugbarakari ere ma imira.
Okay. Award 4.
Award 4 Saru Ndondorosi Mama Tatiku Ondoga Zamba Deni Lugbarakari ade ama yonze nyakumaja ini iyo mapter maja. Award 4 Saru le merio di ware muka mani yori ki vabeni ba.
Okay. Award 4.
Award 4 Saru Biti ma Acid Henry Lugbarakari ma Atibo Asien Supini Digavne yo Geringeri ne dike tripirma Hindui. Award 4.
Okay. Award ni
Award 4 ba meri ba mvele geza ma dia titi ma Rusi achizi Patrick yi ma ba ejo anguvero nepi ugarabani yo kansa tri.
Okay.
Lugbarakari mahali yani ba.
Okay.
Ameri yonde kili.
Okay. Award 4.
Azia maperechi Rusi yonva mala meriga fatili kujo ma pike kan ko Prime Minister riga kingdom mutwe. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Modipi. Those are the guests I have in the studio. I will be interacting with. Now, let me get to Akampulira Sarah, the program coordinator for community empowerment, SRHR. Let's start from SRHR. The organization probably can be new to some people. What do you do and who do you work with? What is your area of operation? You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Center for Health, Human Rights and Development. We are a non-governmental organization that has been in operation for the last 15 years. We operate across the country in over 35 districts in Uganda, and that includes municipalities and town councils and cities as well. We ensure that everything that we do hinges on ensuring that there is social justice in health systems, so that community members, the most vulnerable people, access health services as per the requirements of the government. We implement several projects across the country that include sensitization on sexual reproductive health, sensitization and working through with the structures to ensure that we stop or eradicate issues that cause sexual gender-based violence and the general gender-based violence. We also work in litigation, supporting the vulnerable communities to access justice in areas where they have had health violations. Issues that affect women, issues that affect the girls, issues that affect people living with disabilities, and the men and boys as well. We look at the right to health in its entirety to ensure that whoever is a human being accesses the services the way they should be. We ensure that the human rights-based approach that has the lens of, before you look at Sarah, before you look at Martha or any other person, first put on the lens of, this is a human being that I'm going to interact with. If it is an issue of accessing a health service, HIV testing, issues to do with maternal health and everything, we ensure that, or we emphasize that the human rights-based approach is used as the first lens before you endeavor to give a service. We are located in Wakiso, it's Gayaza, Nakwero, in Canaan sites, and that is our physical location. In case you are going to Kampala or you want to come and reach us physically, that's where you can find us. We have very many programs that include the community empowerment, that facilitates sensitization trainings at district and community level. We have advocacy where we do a lot of policy advocacy. I think if you check on the news, the trending organizations, you see where SRHR lies. We also do litigation where we support the vulnerable communities who have had health violations to access justice. And we have a legal aid clinic that receives complaints far and wide from across the country. And that legal aid clinic, we have a toll-free line where people can call free of charge and get legal advice on the issue, what the issue is, the referral pathway, where you can get help, and where there is need for rapid response. The lawyers are always on standby to come in and support. The toll-free number is 0800 3044. 0800 3044. Wherever you are, whichever language you speak, you can call in case you have any health rights violations, for support from our lawyers that are always on standby, willing and able to support the communities. Yes, that's briefly who we are.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sarah, for clearly highlighting the background of SRHR, what you do specifically, and your core values, and the organizations you work with, and a number of issues that you've pointed out there. Let me turn to Judy. This issue of reproductive health, how has this come about? You're most welcome.
Thank you so much. And since Sarah has already mentioned that we work around the right to health, you realize that sexual reproductive health is an issue. So issues to do with unsafe abortions in communities where women and young girls are dying, issues to do with miscarriages, maternal deaths in health facilities, issues to do with menstrual hygiene, issues to do with fistula, where young girls are probably forced to get married, but because they're not ready, they conceive and end up passing urine and smelling anything to do around the reproductive health of a girl, we come in. So we have a project that is funded by Oxfam Uganda, and the project is basically here to see how we ensure that the sexual reproductive health rights of the young people is realized. So we are operating in Arua, we are operating in Madi Okolo, we are operating in Terego, and we are equally operating in Rhino Camp, the refugee settlement. So all this Center for Health, Human Rights and Development is able to reach out to these communities with funds from Oxfam.
Okay.
The project is a 6-year project, but this is our 3rd year to implement. And of course, while we've been implementing, we've identified peer educators who are the informal structures we work with. For sustainability, these are the people within our communities that identify issues, and they're able to pass over to us as the lawyers, as the community advocates, as the social workers, so we can address the issues. So basically, they were able to identify issues, and the key issue was to see how we work with the cultural institutions, with the cultural leaders, because we know that our culture norms, our practices, some of them are the cause as to why women and girls face sexual reproductive health violations. I'll give an example of forced early marriages, where young girls, the moment they start their periods, they are married off, or even not only before starting periods, but at the age of a tender age, they are married off and they get challenges in giving birth. We've had issues where the men have power and control, because we are in a patriarchal society. So many times women do not have say. So, for example, negotiating sex when a woman is in her periods, it would be really hard, because the man will tell you, I'm the boss. He's come back very drunk and he wants to have sexual intercourse, and everyone will tell you that, why did you leave your home? You left your home for this purpose. And what are the effects of having sexual intercourse during menstrual periods? Your tubes are likely to get blockages, and this could lead to infections. Men at times have a lot of power, and they might use their power wrongly, whereby in case the man is abusive, and I'm not saying all men, but those that are abusive, because we all know they have the power, they're the head of the family, they will beat up the women, they will kick the women. At times, if you're pregnant, you could have a miscarriage. Some have ended up having missed abortions. They're called abortions. And by the time they come to health facilities, they're either overbleeding and babies. We've lost babies in the process of that kind of domestic violence. So we are saying, how do we bring on board the cultural institution, the custodians of our culture, to see to it that these violences, especially on the women and girl child, that lead to sexual reproductive health rights violations, are curbed. And I'm glad to say that many of them have been empowered and sensitized, and we are walking the talk. But that's why we have them in the studio today, so that we can sensitize the communities, so that we can reach out to men. And it's also a way of male involvement. You will see many of them are equally men, so they have to encourage fellow men on how to respect the dignity of a woman, because we all know that it's human rights, and human rights is God-given, it's God-sent. So women and men should be seen as women and respected with dignity at the same footing, not one suppressing the other, because the effects and outcomes are leading to death on one of the sex. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for highlighting on the project. That is a good one you've pointed out there. Modipi ta mani joborele amadu au muipie engazo se hadia azini dileka amavlelu barakari vudi ta okobodiarle imu yonze tutuni yo ibipi alata pie yon tuntuntuntu ikele ngirengiri aku Australia sidi madria dika mutabani muzu agwa kate kumini okuduzu ngofo sebani miomi dika kate kuvina mvaro de bayali tangaku iyo kaka yepi ku amavu di adani angu amavu West Nile vudi maria wadi abete jaman project di ma iyo nani adiki ngoni arbete di ma zanga diti dileke ngapi lugbarakaria di voix kuni yo oponde ni duarete tozo nezukini cultural leaders ya wadiki imazi eyo di ma azakozo azi ni ngari aduni kalsa mavud malia iyo biki ovungoni iyo ibipi iyo va manzel di madria ibiki ovungoni manga di do honorable Lemriga Fadil Misia wadia lo azi biki ovulu baramangwa adanyangwa mavu kari mavu di malia dia iyo va wadile di madriati mi edonga di tutuni kari amavulu baravudi iyo rini iyo ta iyo birupi alata pie iyo birupi ngiringiri okupi meseli agupi pie ngondi madiari ngoni
warfo okorsi alenge yozi ba mukele ma fiba vurmo dria mai mudo aringa kingdom maparia
okay
aringa kingdom beronga kingdom ni askware dile amavu dare bawo zaniko ba beni kanako ba be kalulusi kanako ba be votisi kanako erefu pari exercite aniko sadi lituri ritorna de pebo ere family alwa ba unga de charaka family dini afa mbogo dala ndicho dagada
okay
so afa awatanga mane lubara karibere andane re dikapede lakini dradro awe kaniko history ido jijiktiga Sudaniga pere Congo ga ama awi piralo lakini awangai yovi ambogo rujori so ijo monga jo kingdom recapida madu chiefdom ko yale nruga de bara now idremu dola aringaga ovi jo ajore ole jo agobi pachokoko cheche banjo kurani gara ni legba okuki tambas igba kiriga seko lakini musola amarita ala agobilo kuru idichwa lu wo ujo ididole mi mu kube mijo idirakaka ijo mu koko mijo ini pere pazer la draga aida agobi kanako koe do ufi adongani bajola anduga ulumi di charare so asene ido se musola ijo zikia okoki agobila okocho kan kulicho la sere da duki jo madi aringa duki ko da ijo male ba didire juri doronga de ni bo o le juri ba fonreko o mi okodi le ijo de lo onere kabani onere kadiki fila ago ba dripkaki jola ime dripi ida ma ida unji da ma ida ini adipkari kemi jodi jo diki jola te jole do cha dripid adipid ya ti ado mu ba okuri de ko onve o de ko onve fo ke do ha ni roko ki fo mba ndo deretu ki fo efo chi so sinim do se mu so de go bila joru tri le lichiri de ba waru na mbiri anji diki ndrela yenyo alicho garo njonje anji kijo diki ru kijo diki ndre kini achabara ko ngere so aya ba ko ajore muke ko ataze ge jimo chonga ndiki kidobale muke dendele kani konji kiroro cho yaya askwari ko rala ko mbe chonga di dinga kozi normal afa o ajola anji diki zopira garero areki joku aya ki dozo ijuri tu eni meziga musola community zikenga akonva chongadi ere tayambambala anjike ndre lichogare so pari ba munga ori do mujo ijozo ike tujo ndeni ijozi okude rupiro digadre afa yembandre ole tada nego biru nyomomi okude beko kere embada ukoga ari bugara ukoga square idri nyomo idebe mine go biru chodo muke lakini akola fa arida la fi okura ba o afa angu invade dagale ate echi de block echi ate mengba go birudi okude du piro diga afa adoti mini alaroko ni mi mojo edebe ide do ba zidika piri ide do mukosa rokan kwa yani roko di ijo bani va ba ijo de gadari so wade mugi do samane mbata ori ki fele ojo ki icho sieda ko imumo vurule aya ele doba amuijo di vunjetu bani amedo do sendudo wiki de gada ariba be udo olose mo mbe bakiri ngale mduti tow amuki mbakera atavando mo mbe babaki mduti tow so badi train ki kan ko mbaki ba nga kingdom mduti kalina okay mujujo de erejo amvele so amdini ga andro a to eru ni ari pe do ni yijo be do ngai amadini ga mu ijo di tudugale wo mitapa ma are pride wongu na to jo wada wadaresi ariga kingdom idi district naga idu bonga idi yumbega azia kobokoga but of course o deta ringero ga darki duindi ndeketa district ezi le licho galerike ga number sira so madobi judi jo ringa aruwa ga ban doba ringa ma repiche askwari frequency di la chakere bunyoroga chakere choliga sa sudaniga kongoga kere ya luruga mejo mare majuri ki jimini o ma bijuri ki jolori ga bane rusia lako timade di balu barti jo pereke are so mere do sijuri ke muke ole ijo dike amadri ko bintiga ko ko ki chochonga ko ki chonga anji ki chonga ayo ki rujo onjonje ko ki pa ijo zie okuna ba uku kan kuna ba okwacho ako kan ko akoziki ba chi o gabedi ni si ijo zin la kinga ta yo ati de mudini ga ijo zin la gita yo so idi mi ijo ziki do misi ijo de fuki ba dini ga la ijo zi forte en vela ko o da ni Uganda uja do zita sierra ila alfa torom karom de tosi konsuso de madu si de dira ijo la ga pani le kurukuba kipi erdo si mijo de kinga ididi aimi se doaniga kan kukotiga ala emi agukotiga kotile emi ombera omiva mabusu nyara dikito sijo anduga mamu vonje iminereke so ngiringiri lichoga sidi ola edeko ijo ndukulu amane machajo and ndosido reworfe memareresi
wadifo honorable Lemerga Fadil mahajangati the Honorable Ismail Mivo, mi Prime Minister Lugbara Karivuleri, bani bi badwa tutuni biru kala nzayo tutuni kala teregwa adani kala ringavuleruri, ibanga mani tutuni Lugbara malia bayo tadi ayota azikiti ayodi kivana di anzondu tre ngiringiri fuale nendi ntuta alata okupini ngondi fukiora lena dendi yomi badi nyare ngoni
awadi photo ba ma ritiri afa odi for radio patches ni iliama idizo rojon zerisi afa odi for mboro muti se hadini idini dreba fe andro amani kenya mamu zonze ozo ibp okoki anji turidurisi maida afa zia zitaziba angapi mani be village ya adripi Paris bile fe sub county amane bitandu butisi ipi bojon zezo bojon na kuriduri ni hazi mitria chichi machado amuke amani ni boreadeni ayota Uganda ni baile alfalu torom kalurom de tausire fedriwala ukupini zoanji pini aro chiru suzo ya zakozo bazikichi tikiuzo ukumwaro areko kini dimu iso sindani sitieniko kini dimu le aro suzo din yani bazeti kuzo dite gaumende yuzo de amaniko ifila siete zoa izamba kan kukumirini bati ngoti sa kalir de sudene daktere zoki sa zisi di ruti upoa kusura ngoti tizadese iri ezoanzi elita piko regamende iko baniki dufezo god katia ipi ruti mba mvusi zaniko ipi hupile cha ngoti ambora njezo ambelo wako uzo disi gamende bazita kini bai chopi mupi agupiera uko chopi mupi agupiera re ililao were ribacha elimu didarote dilela le ade palela doko Lugbara kari ticheza a Ministry Gender Labor and Social Development be usuki afaze bombe pronouncement as a policy brief kaniko tichita basivwa ayota di muke banga niezi ayota di onzebo gasi dini policy brief kaniko pronouncement de basi tirisi ugaraba tisira basi Lugbara tisira ili dozi Lugbara kari ni afade awazo uzote iyo de alaende baga mani se ukwanzi ki du feso agoa diga mi ba kani po suru dini si drea mini rezo aze ngoti ili chapi kurera zita zo ba komichi ba sumija imiare mi ozo di siko ondoa amani eliosi abiri za serese ama indre kadivere amajola ale ma school fees ni mejo ale lo ozo meskela di choba fe ma fa din ma lire ka ba fe kairaka garga se mevera lara zamba fe agupia bazo bango zodeko busu mira beme kochi iri ozo azapi tandiri abe azie tikuzo deni kini ngotia rodo umba nrebo kani kwa bijebo zambade elila oromia elila mudria kani deli mudidiria na suota upere mudidezirede emizondo koroko zambade mbato bodo le bomdo gupi ba fedi de gupi ya yedene zamba mini li tsapi ko de mi fasa sisti elose kani kundri elose kani ko u elose ozo de gamendo guide amanisi kini rozo de ora minga drimo sura ani amataba akaro suru ditepi baka ozo amapi suru ade ozo de abaki de amadulo ozo adarero ezo ande di bomuki unita ba laki sukulu ba duki kosi ndondoroke ngoti drilu nzisi dringoti ti sala da sad koro idu be seki aleko idu fo awoko se ago ako imba tala perebu singoti da ibada dunita dia yizitata gamene ne I amania ore lubarakari ede azi gamende aninga gamendo yo lubarakari ezinga ididri oido pofe oposende anira achipa anira afazipi anira kini ingazi azo ikopi undrundre abere imu wiki orozolis kaniko aya ngotu supi aru uporovorore kaniko ngotu sipi bokarijorore tadre madripi honorable Fadil ni zoredi ozo azike de abazo okunake opako le okuba nandrizako adizo ko anake ubeni buku lugarani auzo dikiyo buku mundo ani auzo dikiyo afadi kilu endrani ozo aze adrozo di ko odiza lutai oniero miago biru akuwa iki yo ponde ozo driarekete ime pochi tandiru njita family mi adre kudi pirisi te zita me bar badake zita fetro etope kumira zakore ili uzo kide dusi kuime ya reme okoto anje to ireva ozota abane de ribaza la kongonia azide ba ongonia ba ma tipiriki sande yake ga resource ke jola ompa de atabo zodo di mudobo uridir le bafa ba sana ba safuno ba sakaka ikando zodo koto te wange ozaibo afadinga kiezida hadiko mido kuzo dungemi drisi edingalabo balalo zode adiani hadri family ani lako ozo amane muzodo are akene bandre okuki ba barurero dria amane amandre gupiru diaden ogarabati si amaro ba mumbe champions male champions isekene amozo ukunita leba kokuni azaba tikira amozo rakenga bazike azisi adre lili wikeja dake okoko wake bozo ko ani lepi pambu ko rubi piriki ifilati lakita ba tre kuni drutre ba choki chocho ba wawa sa dresse ozo dise hango zoko bata se hadiru dom kidolo abani mbaki ama kini aro ba fede bata tasipirare ni ba ugako daktare de jo kumididi usido anzeke to aniabo de widiru draji mi arozo zola baliava ambuzongoti eziru suzo sa ekere mijola ileko baziki owati sijola iti danzeke na tike jendi keziri anjeski de suchi mi danzi dikitira kaka dada deko no agbarudi adi yako mi mu be de anziki ti mi are dodo zoaze ozo de odidiru otokoro ede odidiru azofedi beta adiara ante azike niriaro bo ko ki opose bala ipisi iruti ta ukware iruti ta zakoza reke itiki ya lo nziki idre bilero afare di rutia drinda za sike do abarusi eke do barudi zoki ko ale ke uzori ke dzimve arofezo eneko uzo ike bozonzi zozo ala uzo di adi kuri aduzo o di adira amadi tsandi fo gogo aku marani awadi fo.
Okay, awadi fo modipi ma simu zira mani yo mitiari erezo mito amani mi gata fe otitadi madiara mito vira amani yo mitiari nze mini bine community mi vura maria iyo ndundu birupi bani anzi litaba kudi obizo bani matipezo ajia ngofusi ngirigiro pume okume selia gupipie ndundu di madria mido yamani yo mitiari apera kane mayomini otitadi eri muperesa wana sirikani ama news iri ama ye igodivra da mavuti ndote de ameringa news kuru ma ye misibu idura alugbarakari do atu alose hadbe agbatara gbaria yo vad bade de parties kaloro du oromi famai mangadi tija ataza tiko mivo ezamva deni dileka alugbarakari vudi balia okuru zwa arlo alumi madibia mi obinga amani mivu rite eyo vad madria denga afini yo azi adini afadi ifeni emi ta didle ka diro mi adi edi afinga leko ma imira mi banga mitiar de ma imira
walifo saru radio pate simini azini bini amampu pike mupi sefo titu nemuso ndo amavu kini yo wa Uganda dia ili mududi tao ikakitibidi yo ama diare muke amavu do yo ta amati vadale amane azu vadale madia inu suri sikini ko amato korori ba mi chande to agubi ba ko pa madia ike amane order fe ke amane opofe yo ndundu rikisi te dia daru azin sikibi na daru ukuki chandusu izo njikimvu su were aru de disiri ni chakiko azinisi azonzi kivini mumvufo iki udare yori ki ideria anda kini yonda dioda samati ngoni amatadi patadi yo amate kweli kimu ndaipiri kini yoda kenda ngonia amate yondere ki yo kweli ki chulo dilero amayondere ki de ngonia idea daru tandiru masiria yondere ki bene idera anda diorisi ina lugbari adia okuki binji nikituba bakale mukimi madibu amamu matavu bombe na gubi akuki bakumve okurusi bombe niki agubirusi kuba azukunere okuki azinga totoni akwedi ane azini siyomani su dia nziri dibele kini nyakuni iujutadini ani anda diorisi akanda nziru yo izabo ama tirani kimi ko kimi cho kimi ji miendri vini micho tudo rianziki bakalanziki imba ikamwa yava yani jo icho imba anje tukini tudo amani amakitamba amanjiruni kubalo ni tudo imanji tamba iyo bele badi ni muzuri bele yawa dike izanji anju supurariki azini sikaku subo takiti skuru wako patiki feguvi oposi kini ta prime minister ni obele ila mali asuku ife di skuru fizi izabo ngoni wali kibele yederia asini madibule mana ma le tarala iyo wala pina muzuri si le amatati lubari kariya di le muki vale tudo fadi chake bali kuba kumbe kini simu di nani simu di zaki tudo ni amani anziki teke kani njoni yani anji woro ne ti simu be iyo simu dari kipiru ndiru diki amata damani le ta mimba anjikira anji danji bani tuini se wadiki izaki anjikira amata de kwedi ayi arudi mama yanjiki surusiku ama aziri kipini okini anji ndeke amiyora anjiki mama yonde ngoni ngondo anji ndeke amiyoku ba mimba anjiki mama yanjiki surusiku azini si amata bina yarudi ama bini mu iwa mbusi amabino muntu atutudo su bani ba nisidi sudi zami mudale mi anji ka kweda dusi iyo njini era dware niku anji kiyo ya dibade niku iyo njiri sui ni seti sudi azini iwa bani mvu breleru akwesidi le tarala awadi fo balo pini imukibo iyo ina musuri bele izo njiki mvatiti kufula daktari ale ba fe ba pini mukeku azini si bako ku tobo baka rijikotia amavulu gwatiside kumvengo nyani unji le ba maji bako ku tunji ba maji rikotiara iti imudi ingazinga mabera iyo kadringoni ba maji yo kikotiara ba mayurusiku azilaru madibini amai amata akweziri amavulu ba amanda diosiri gala ombea achiti anjikimba mie tropika doko idumika kaku emo adini de mande batudo afarikiyo le sadala atakiti vele yonda amadi jobana mimbazo amane tazo pere sadisi zama de nerudi bele ubi amani iyo ki vazo kili bana mimbazo kili bele anto amane sozo pereli kalezi doro amewadi wadi fo saru mina mumbazo muzori kili bayo da repliki mareki mazikili ndo amatsotirinya wadi fo saru.
Okay, award 4 dakati amandwa ro amani muzwa valiza azmalia di news ni tedenga podi amudale kuru bodi pi mayomini kini sad maria mitso amansi mwegba miegata fezu otitande va award madriara kala mivu community yari ringoni yari mitso amani lura dika yovna mini ni abia ejo va award pi madria ngiringiro kupimeselia agupibe di maza ikibe biki kongoni di madria di kimitso amani sad malia tiape amapi otita vad baliara tamani yoborle ma otita di desana namba minutes ayo sad malia simu gbazo amani rito kwa ziri azia rito itoi toko aro azia dede radio party.
Hello, radio party.
Amayo njadibe
Butia Jackson.
Butia Jackson sime bengazungwa
Ma phone bangaza
arivwa wadi ay bangayo mitierde
afemini program fito mata yo mungu vule tamungu batini bindi program le ta ma unga dudile angu amavure adu West Nile Dairy izabe iyo itaburi imbata kiri inga jokula ko kudafi anje amaviki mvula so aka ila parende alolovu berkeputara rira pakami dialogue de ru akusi pogo maziki aba marka hariki usuku misaje kiwara yanzu sudani so ani program si after minute samboro ala ni ndibe
okay
kada amahura mva pamin zobora la mva azika yuma gai zate do akida idinamba rebelmane ava kwazi mbata tama mbasa wala mbata su pikidare illuminati so rebel kurado di afante mabuki bigo ngumlo negative so ane mata ila ane mbata de mondrile ama parende so apaparende musiki ma pala muzika ane kamba zusu edin nzunze even bende da ba da azan tambi mira mambo ni sa de ma popo so ane endikindi apa dulu tapi ni batin da kindi marki abadi kindi ba da ne ba apa politik ni ngon dike manda ke ba ma tanga fulla ta ni mai adini iyo ma kimo to benisere orfa ni mambo
iyo azimin so ba ngirngiro kup meselia gupi bermadranche
eri afare jibe vata ko gupi pisikle gupi be ndrebe ko endita da de take apara iyo ni animata ila gupi de gupi be minute ni re zero vado ni quarta rume aridani iyo kilo marlo kira akirke ko ba kai adikilo zikina ni momento ndombo ani letra para la tu disi ceza ni afamuka lishiyo erbala kai ni